pretty badly if you don't know what you're doing. Mostly, not this fight with him, but you'll run into him in a different route. Well, actually, both the other routes you'll run into him again, and in those versions he can actually kick your ass. Particularly the third encounter with him, where he can he literally just raging storm you to death.
Ouch.
I mean, non-stop, raging storm one after another, and there's no way to get out of it, and it just drains your health. It's one of the few bosses that can actually kill you.
I suddenly fear and respect him, even if he dashes off like that.
Yeah, he's a fucking crazy character in the source material. I mean, really, the characters themselves are not really supposed to be anything like larger than life in Comic Party. But like Taishi would go out of his way to like somehow get himself on top of a light post just so he can stand there dramatically above everybody else and make some loud speech.
That sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah, except his plan was except this was all part of his scheme to conquer the world through selling doujin comics.
I reiterate, my kind of guy.
Okay. You've seen me use them a couple times, but every character has some special moves and super moves. I've been spamming a bunch of Rins. They're just basic, quarter circle forward and your basic little dragon punch motion to do them. And you have two buttons, either a punch or a kick, or a light attack or a hard attack, depends on the character. And some slightly more complicated, and that's usually just a double quarter circle forward or the double. That's usually what it is. It's just that. Plus either your magic button or one of your attacks will use a super move, and that requires SP, which is only dropped as you beat up enemies. The little blue bottles or the little blue jars are the ones that give you SP. What drops out of enemies is random, so you can't really control how much you have. I try to conserve it.
I don't mean to alarm you, but she just summoned Ramu.
Yes.
Just putting that out there.
There's a ton of playable characters. I zipped through this character select screen to try to hide them from you people, just so not to spoil anything. But yeah, only the four default characters have a magic-based super move like the one like hers. The other characters have shit like summoning Ifrit, Shiva, or Bahamut, if I recall correctly, were the other ones.
Alright, so that wasn't just a zany observation on my part, they're actually in this game.
To that extent, yes.
Excellent.
Although I kill the skeletons really quickly here. This boss here, Mai, also from Canon, is capable of hurting the skeleton mooks for some reason. There's probably a story reason that I don't understand, but yeah, they're not technically her mooks. They're sort of like a neutral third party in this case.
Or just fodder in general.
Oh yeah, so that's the nature of being a mook.
True that.
And although she actually does run around carrying a sword in the series she's from, the flame moves is just because for some reason when Rapid Fire made this game they decided she should be sole bad guy.
Gunflame, right? I love it.
One of her super moves is Dragon Install.
Dude! This game is amazing. I really like beat-em-ups that incorporate fighting-style combos.
This one tries, but it's a little primitive, but it's still very fun. Rin's not a good character for it, though.
Yeah, her attacks seem a little bit awkward.
They're very slow. Mai's probably my favorite to play as. We'll be using her in a later route.
Nice.
Now, this was sort of almost like a story battle, and at this point we're going to do some talking, and here's where the game splits off into its different routes. If you've beaten them, you get to pick, but if you're on your very first playthrough, you don't really get a choice once you beat them, otherwise you have to pick, and we'll be going on the first one, the Resurrect Archer path.
Woo!
Number 1. So we'll get back to you then.
Okay.